My friends, we have big problems when it comes to loot and gearing in 6.0. Well, at least some people think so. But BioWare has responded, and they have listened to our feedback. Let's take a look. Hello my friends, Boomy here once again with another video for you, my SWTOR brothers and sisters. How's everyone doing out there in a galaxy far, far, far away? If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button for all your SWTOR news, fun, and guides right here, right now. My friends, we have a lot of changes coming our direction. Now there's a big lengthy post out there on the forums brought to us by Eric Musco, and this is brought to us by there's been a lot of issues concerning gear, loot drop, tiers, grind, RNG, all this stuff that is coming with the new system that they want to implement in 6.0 Onslaught. Now there's been a lot of some constructive feedback, some trolley feedback, but there has been some great feedback concerning the loot drops and stuff. I was going to do a video about the problems of the loot, but I decided to wait to see what BioWare's response was going to be to this and see what changes they were going to bring to Phase 2, or let's really call it Phase 2.5 now, and what they were going to bring to the table and try to compromise with what some of the people have been saying. Now, this is a lengthy post, so we're going to get right into it right here and explain what is going on. So here we go, my friend. Here is the lengthy response. Now, before we start this, let me just tell you, the biggest issue has been with being able to get upgraded gear while running your content. Now, let's say you were holding out at a 268 item level. The new algorithm, the new whatnot, the mathing, the new system in the gearing system will see you only as a 268, so you will not be getting any upgraded, like say, blue gear that might be at a, I don't know, let's call it a 278. You won't get that until you are exactly at 270, then you will progress. But since everything's really random and since certain drops weren't happening, this became a big clustered bomb. So people were justifiably upset. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. He starts with the quantity of item ratings and the tiers. We have seen concerns about the total number of item ratings that there are from the start of the expansion in Best in Slot. Although the quantity is high, that is not where the focus should ultimately lie. Our intention here is simple. You should be able to go from start of level cap to max item rating fairly quickly. The goal is to make sure the speed of progression feels rapid and constant, regardless of the item ratings you need to go through to get there. For now, we are not going to make any changes directly to the amount of item ratings, but we expect that due to the other changes we are making below, you will find yourself progressing quicker than you did at the start of Phase 2. And he continues, progression through item ratings. And this is what I was talking about. Since the system now looks at your current item rating when determining loot drops, this is creating a friction point where you may be getting held back by one piece of gear. Example, kind of like what I just told you, you were wearing full 270 except for one or two pieces, which brings your average I rating below that to 268. This situation will cause a lot of the gear that drops to be 270 instead of something higher, meaning a lot of drops aren't actually upgrades. We agree this can be a frustrating experience, and so we are addressing this in two ways. We are adjusting the item ratings that can be dropped in some content so that you are more likely to get a side grade or upgrade than you did previously. We also agree that you're not getting enough loot to begin with, so we're going to be increasing the number of drops you get from all content. So, more chances for upgrades and more tech fragments. Tech fragments is a whole different situation. What I was going to say in my video that I was going to do about the problems here is that tech fragments, the new currency, they need to have more drop because it is just ridiculous compared to what you have to buy in the RNG. We'll talk about that maybe later. Non-moddable items. We have seen a number of concerns around the amount of items that are dropping that are both non-moddable and or do not contain mods. Since many players rely on mods for their current gearing, we are making a few changes here. In the short term, we are making 3 changes. Moddable gear can now already drop, but it is pretty rare overall. We are increasing the drop rate for that gear across the board. Second, we are greatly increasing the frequency of mods dropping and the quantity that you will receive over time. Third, random mods can now be purchased from the random tech fragment vendor. So they're still basing a lot of this stuff on RNG, and that's going to be a problem, especially when RNG is not on your side, and a lot of people are using that RNG as their primary source of gearing, and that is probably not the best way to do it. Let's continue. One additional change we are looking into, not in this build, is to convert more of the expansion gear to the moddable instead of the static gear it is today. He continues, higher difficulty content, not rewarding enough. That feedback is pretty self-explanatory, so no need for extra detail here. We are making two changes to address this. First, as mentioned above, we are going to start dropping more gear across the board. Second, we are going to make sure there is a larger difference in the number of drops between difficulties so that the running veteran, for example, feels more rewarding than story. Too many drops? Not for me. That has been an issue. I ran into that a lot where I was getting a lot of tank drops, but nothing really for my DPS. That was annoying. He says, in general, we are seeing a lot of feedback that there is too much gear that is not dropping specifically for you. For example, you may feel like you're seeing more tank drops, which I have, than you would like to given that you are playing DPS, or that the group drop at the end of your flashpoint dropped the power tech and you were a group of 4 sorcerers. Some of this was intentional. In a system that can only look at exactly what you are playing, we had concerns that it may really limit a player's ability to gear for an alt, which I will say, I get that. They just need to find a good balance in that. He continues, to alleviate that, we set a % of all your personal loot drops that should not be tailored to your spec. While non-personal group drops don't take the group composition into account at all. From your feedback, it sounds like we leaned too far in that direction. Two changes for this PTS update, which, by the way, is live as of this recording. First, we have increased the percentage of personal items that are tailored to your character. You can still get items that are not for you, as we do want some amount of items available for alts, and this is great. Pause right here. This is awesome. Too many times in MMOs have you heard when new expansions launch that it is not alt friendly. At least here, it's becoming somewhat alt friendly in the fact that you can send gear, which is all legacy bound, to your alts, and that is awesome. And I kind of like that with Anthems, how they do kind of like similar to what's going on here with their RNG secret mystery box, what you could get. You might not be able to use it on your main tune, but you can send it to another, like your Interceptor, Colossus, or Storm. And I kind of like that too, because I do. But let's continue. He says, but that % is quite a bit lower now. Second, the group loot drops will now look at your base class to determine what drops. This may mean you won't get something for your currently assigned spec, but it will be relevant for someone in the group. Kaizyken vendor. Some of the concerns we are seeing is that the tech fragment cost is too high. It's either too high or you're not getting enough tech fragments, that's for sure. A desire is to have expanded inventory to include left side gear and weapons, more items in general, or even a static inventory for purchase. Our intention is that Kai is meant exclusively as a supplementary system. If you feel like you need to look at Kai as a primary mechanism to get gear, then we believe that there are clear problems we need to work out in the rest of Spoils of War. That said, we are absolutely exploring a number of great suggestions we have seen for Kaizyken improvements. For now, we are going to hold off on any changes to him. We want to see how he feels in a world where the rest of the system is being more generous with more loot drops. You know, that makes sense. That makes sense. More power tech, more tech drop fragments, and better odds of upgrades. I really wish they had just left it at like Charles coin or something. That'd been great. We will keep monitoring though, and may still make changes to Kai in the future PTS updates. So keep the feedback coming. And we're almost there, my friends. We're almost at the end. Random tech fragment gear vendors Renoun crates. A lot of feedback here was pretty similar to Kai, and our response is similar as well. However, one additional thing that was raised is that too often you would buy an item from a vendor only for it to not even be for you. We have greatly increased the likelihood that an item purchased from the vendor will be tailored to you. Also, as mentioned above, this vendor now has a much better chance of any item purchased from it being a side grade or upgrade instead of being below your item rating. Renoun is receiving the same update as well. Now, this is the vendor that will always be there. Kaizyken is only going to be there pretty much on weekends, Friday through Monday. And then this is the lady who's at the desk, and she will have all those beautiful mystery boxes for you to gamble with, pretty much. He continues with amplifiers. We are hearing concerns around the randomness of the system and its costs being prohibitive. One clarification is that part of the design assumes that you may not get one single item and hold on to it forever if you care about amps. Example, if you get the set chest that you want, we would expect you to spend some time and credits to re-roll that amp until you feel it becomes too expensive. The system is going to give you a tremendous amount of loot over time, which can likely include another copy of that same chest. That would give you a reset ability to roll amplifiers if you choose. That one, just drop the cost of re-rolling amplifiers. I think that's the thing. You know, again, this whole system is laden and leaching and dripping with RNG, and that's one of the biggest problems that people are really concerned with, and I have to say, so am I. There needs to be some greater RNG protection in this system for it to be successful, or people are going to riot and leave. He continues, we do hear these concerns though, and so we are going to monitor them along with other changes we are making, as we are completely open to making changes to all things amplifiers. Keep in mind that amplifiers are also still working on being fully implemented, and so we want to ensure that this is the case before we make too many substantial changes. Now for my PvP brothers and sisters, here he has to say. We are increasing the rewards earned from playing PvP. Details will be posted in PvP rewards feedback thread. That should cover most of all the changes coming in this next PTS patch. We hope that this shows our willingness to make changes to a system as a whole, and your feedback is instrumental in getting us to the best place it can be. Stick with us on this PTS and keep your feedback coming. Keep in mind that this is in no way comprehensive list of everything we are exploring. We know there are a number of changes we can make beyond what is listed above that we are actively exploring, just not on this PTS build. Look for PTS patch tomorrow or today, as the recording of this video. And he said, PS in patch note form. This is pretty much just going down the list of what he already talked about. So there we have it, my friends, the whole shebang about what has gone live today in what I call patch 2.5 on the PTS. Now, there are some really good changes in here. I like the increase of loot drops. I like the increase that you will get loot that's actually tailored towards you and not necessarily for an alt that you may not even play. That's the thing too, because a lot of people don't have an army of alts in this game, in most games, right? So they don't have that army to just send gear to, but when you're playing your main, especially when an expansion first launches and your first couple months in, your main focus is on your main to get it to where you need to get to go into endgame stuff and material. And then you start thinking about your alts and stuff like that. And alts are usually, you know, meant for either hardcore people to get another tune in there to try something different with the ops, or just because, hey, I've done everything I could on this tune, let's try the story on this tune and see what happens. But there are some great changes in here. RNG is still a problem, and I think that is something they are wrestling with as we are wrestling with, because this is something they really want, but the problem is the RNG is going to make it a little tough for them to do. I still think Onslaught's looking to be a great expansion, and I think the best thing they have done is put this sucker on the PTS and having us test it. If they hadn't done this and they just released everything as it was, there would have been rioting, and then there would have been a major problem. But I'm glad they have it on the PTS. Guys, give your feedback to BioWare on this one. If you don't like some of the changes they are making, make sure you let them know in the forums. They are reading it, and they will hopefully make the changes, because they want this expansion to be just as successful as we believe it will be. So my friends, put your comments in the comment section below. Let me know all your thoughts on all this. I know this was a lengthy video, but there's a lot to go over. And make sure you hit the like button if you like what you see here. It does help the channel out quite a bit. Hit that bell notification as well, because I do videos a lot. And my friends, if you really like what you see here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, become part of the family here at Boomy Nation, the freak show of YouTube, the black sheep of gaming. And to my lovely Patreons, thank you so much for your support. Everything that you guys give goes right back into the channel. And as always, my friends, make sure to be kind. It's about community, and we will see you later. Good day.